Hello everyone, my name is Kitetsu and welcome back to my channel. So I was literally neck deep in a video all about the new War Scrolls which have been announced for the Greater Demons of Nurgle, which came out literally today, and I decided I'd have a quick look on the Warhammer community website and found this article here. Because I was particularly excited by this article, I had to quickly stop the video I was making to make this one quickly, and it's going to be a really quick video because there's not a huge amount of information yet, but what they have announced and what they are very strongly suggesting, in fact to the point where I'd say it's all but confirmed that there are new models coming, it's all pretty exciting. Now first things first, the new models have not actually been shown. This is probably the first confirmation that we've had that new death models are coming, so it's very early days. But we have got a brand new Battletome on the way for death. So let's get onto the article itself. Every year at Warhammer World they do a New Year's open day, and for a small number of people, it says here, they reveal what's upcoming, and then they've uploaded some of that up here on the website. There is some 40k news which I'm sure will be exciting for some people, and in fact I collect Thousand Suns, so that's kind of exciting for me, but obviously for the most part I am an Age of Sigmar enthusiast, and that is kind of the main focus of my channel, so obviously that's what I'm going to talk about. Right down the bottom we have this, Battletome Legions of Nagash. So straight off the bat we have a new Battletome coming, and I know there were people who were disappointed with the Malign Portents release, so this is going to be very exciting for people like that. It says here that while the Malign Portents remain as mysterious as ever, one thing is certain. Something great and terrible is rising in Shaiish, and Nagash is behind it. This year promises to be a huge one for death players. Okay, so you've heard it here. It is going to be a big year for you death fans. Even if you thought that it was just going to be the Malign Portents, clearly there's going to be more to it than that. It says we're getting things started, okay, so there's going to be more, with the Legions of Nagash, a new Battletome with not one but 6 allegiances within. So this bit here is just saying that everything has expanded in Age of Sigmar, whether it's like the lore, the allegiance abilities, these great cities arising, but it says that Battletome Legions of Nagash is designed to make sure that death players have just as many options as their counterparts. Inside you'll find the War Scrolls for every single death model so far. Now this is the bit that has got me excited, because it's such an obvious statement to make that they would not bother to put that bit in unless you knew that there were more models on the way. Obviously we have had loads of Battletomes announced. We've had the Grand Alliance books come out which were packed full of War Scrolls. We've just had the new Nurgle one announced, and they have never bothered to write so far ... Even the ... is saying like, wait for it, something else is coming, okay? So I'm wondering if they've put that in there to kind of deal with some of the slight negativity they received or feedback they got from the Malign Portents, where people like, but hey, we thought we were getting loads of death models and there weren't any announced at all, and it was a little bit of a letdown. They're saying, okay, maybe we weren't ready to tell you now that there are more models on the way, but actually there are. We're designing them, we've got plans, and they're coming at some point. Now obviously because they are bringing out a Battletome really soon, that to me suggests that the death models that are coming are not going to be really imminent, because otherwise you wouldn't bother releasing the Battletome only to have it become outdated immediately by all of the new models coming out. So it suggests to me that maybe we're looking at a bit of a wait until those models come out. But at the same time, it is telling us that there are going to be new models, okay? So we can relax. We know they're coming. Of course, there's always going to be waits with Warhammer. We're used to it. Back to the article and the Battletome. Alongside 4 new allegiances within Death, The first of which is going to be the Grand Host of Nagash. Second, the Legion of Shadows. Sounds a little bit like something out of Batman. Legion of Sacrament, and lastly, the Legion of Blood. You will also find rules for the Soulblight Vampires, and I've actually spoken to a few people who are very keen to start a Soulblight collection. It also says if you'd rather have an army formed from the multiple facets of Nagash's Legion, there are also rules for those who pledge themselves more generally to the powers of death. And I believe I've spoken about this before in a video a long time ago, but the death faction feels very fragmented at the moment. I think you have a group called the Lords of Death, which contains all of the Mortarchs and Nagashin. They don't even have any battle line in there. So technically, if you wanted, say, a Death Rattle army, you would have to take Neferata as an ally, which I know there's no real point to probably taking a Death Rattle army with the way they've got the rules at the moment, but it was just very stupid, and hopefully, I'm sure it will, this book will fix all of that rubbish. Then we get this picture here, which is talking about these 4 new allegiances within Death. One thing I noticed is we've got the Grand Host of Nagash, which is obviously like the head group of Death, and then below him we have Legions of Night, which above I think was called Legions of Shadow. Let me just check that. Legions of Shadow, Sacrament and Blood. Yeah, okay, so one of those is probably a typo, but we've got the Legion of Night, Legion of Sacrament, and Legion of Blood. Now, obviously, for those of you who know anything about Death, these are going to be his 3 Mortarchs. I imagine the Legion of Blood likely being Neferata, I would have thought. In fact, it even says here, the particularly devout among you may have spotted that each of these corresponds to a Mortarch or Nagash himself, and each allegiance, while using a mixed pool of death units, will feature its own unique in-game mechanics and abilities. So I put these pictures together here. On the right, this chart is from one of the Realmgate War books, and it shows that you have Nagash at the top, and underneath him you have basically his most powerful lieutenants, which are his Mortarchs, and they are each in command of massive armies. You've got Manfred, my personal favourite Neferata, and Archon the Black. Neferata is actually a really cool character because she's already got some really good storyline behind her. Even in that book, they wrote like a short story where she's holding off this massive army. I can't remember who it is. It could be Stormcast, it could be Slanesh, I'm not really sure. It's been a while since I read it. But she's talking to one of her own lieutenants and she says to them, get out there, fight them the best you can, but don't even worry the slightest bit. There's going to be loads of reinforcements on the way. You will be fine. Just hold them back until the reinforcements arrive. So her lieutenant heads out there thinking, okay, I've got this. Everything's going to be fine. And then she gets up and basically runs away. And there were never going to be any reinforcements. She just wanted him to fight with enough determination to the last breath, hoping that those reinforcements were going to arrive to save him. And in fact, she's just being selfish and thinking about her own survival. So she's quite an interesting character there. And there's an interesting hint to her character that she's actually quite reluctant to follow Nagash. And she's actually quite disappointed by the fact he awakens. It seems like she's very powerful, so Nagash uses her, but at the same time, she's more like an unwilling servant. So hopefully they explore that kind of relationship a little bit more. But yeah, then below them you have the different factions like the Flesh Eater Courts, Soulblight, and the Death Rattle. So yeah, it's not just rules either. Inside you'll find your guide to the realms of Shyish, what everyday life is like for the denizens of Nagash's kingdoms, from the skeletons cutting lumber in the woods of Carstinia to sinister cities where the living and the dead dwell alongside each other. So that's really cool. They're starting to do what everyone wanted right from the beginning, which is to flesh out the storyline of the realms themselves. They've already, on the Malign Portents website, created a video where they explain how all of the realms interconnect with each other. And they're also starting to provide more maps more locations, more storyline. Everything is getting more exciting about the realms. They're starting to feel more real, fleshed out, and just thought out, really. If you think about the Realmgate Wars, they were so focused. I think I even said this in my last video. They were so focused on the campaign of Sigmar coming out into the realms that they really neglected to tell us anything about the realms at all. Like, we hardly know anything about the realm of Shadow. We know very little about the realm of Death. And it is about time that Games Workshop slow down a little bit and actually tell us the stories that we want to know about. Even the little short stories on Malign Portents were brilliant, and the more of that we get, in my opinion, the better. I think the storyline is going to amount to something special. I think we just need to give it some time, and at the moment that is what we are getting. So, yep, that's pretty much what we have got so far in terms of news. Not a huge amount, but obviously the Battletome is a good sign of things to come. And the fact that it sounds like we are definitely, here we go, getting miniatures at some point along the lines is also promising for people who are really keen for new death models. I guess the moral of the story is good things come to those who wait. You know, if you were collecting Nurgle, how long have you waited for this model? I mean, the old model is, I don't even know. I've been collecting this hobby since I was about 8, maybe younger, and the old model has been there since before then, so that is a long time ago. Until the announcement comes, you never know what Games Workshop are actually going to do, but the wait is always worth it when they bring out stuff like this, and they bring out all this exciting new lore and exciting new characters. I guess just do your best to be patient. I'm sure this is going to be a big year for Age of Sigmar. I'm sure the models will be on the way at some point, and I think people are going to be happy. I know they kind of hyped up that release a lot, but I really do think they have big plans for Age of Sigmar in 2018. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon with that War Scroll analysis that I was halfway through making.